Man, we got a putter bender to review. Stay tuned, we'll show you what it is. Welcome back to the Mid-Golf Shop. Jim McCleary, most award certified club maker, club fitter, where we talk about club repairs, club reviews, club fittings. If you would, like, subscribe, swing and hit that bell at the bottom, and that way you get more of these videos when they drop. We're reviewing a putter bender. You really need to stay through the whole video because I've got two more pieces that you need to know about when dealing with this putter bender, and they're both very cool. You ever had, now, I was going to show you about me missing all these putts, which is pretty much true to form, but you get those where somebody says, oh, your toe's way up in your putt, or your toe's way down in your putt, or you're not over the ball, or you're not a whole lot of these other things that's going on in your putt, and you've got three putts in a round, all right? As any instructor will tell you, you got to minimize those. You minimize your 3 putts, scores go lower. I mean, well, duh, right? However, what would be that cause, right? You're going to get on every forum and they're going to say, well, I don't have access to a fitter, I can't get there. And somebody inevitably is going to tell you, and I've had to do it, just go to the putter place and the one you make the most putts with is the greatest thing ever. Well, that's true for then, right? You might have a day where you're just seeing something a little bit better, okay? And then all of a sudden, you're not making putts anymore. Well, why is that? We always talk about what fittings do, right? There'll be fitters that try and overcome your swing tendencies. And if that happens, that just means your swing tendency is going to get much worse or get greater, whatever that might be, in order to compensate for the mere fact that you were doing good beforehand. We just can't stand as golfers doing the same thing over and over again. We gotta just keep going, well, it doesn't feel the same. But yeah, I'm making putts, but I want it to feel the same. But you're making putts, but I want it to feel the same. You see where I'm going with this? In a lot of cases, a mere bend, right? A mere loft and lie adjustment, think about irons, right? Mere loft and lie adjustments can make the difference. It just makes it feel better. You hit it in the middle of the face, your direction gets better, your turf interaction gets better. So why not putts, right? Why not putts? Because you're going to use this thing twice in a round at a bare minimum. Well, you get lucky and get that short putt in there, but on average, it's scheduled to be used twice. So why not have this thing totally dialed in to the way that you do your work, all right? Do that stroke. Get it dialed in. Get it so it soles. Get it so that it's at the right loft in the places that you play, right? If you're playing places that are fuzzy, you might want more loft. If you want that it's very manicured, you might want less loft. You might want, you want to get your eye on or inside the line of the ball. You want to be making, square contact. You want to be aiming where it wants to go. But it can be addressed with a simple bend. So why wouldn't you, right? Well, we do that here. Been doing it here for quite some time. Mondaire of Golf Mechanix has offered up a putter bender to basically modernize my shop. And what you saw in the beginning was just what it looks like, right? Let me get it for you. The Golf Mechanix putter bender. All right, now what makes this so unique that's different than my other one? Well, here's what my other one was, the GolfWorks unit, which was more or less probably made by the Golf Mechanix, but it had the same base and a lot of the same features that this one has. This one's just been updated. Now, what did I do? What's different than that? Well, hold on. Same base, same bars that slide across, and the same bar here in the front. Now, it does have the same piece that holds down the putter. I believe the forks are a little longer on this one, and the knob's on the top instead of the bottom. The other part you'll see is on the back of this one. Now, the big change is the gauge. This guy's digital, this is not. So this one goes. So let's go over some of these features top to bottom. As you saw, we have a digital readout. Now, if you're going to separate yourself from the other people, you're going to want to have something, what this does, this draws a lot of attention. It is also very precise in comparison to just the analog readout. What does that mean? This thing reads out in tenths of degrees. So 68.5, 69.2, 70.3, whatever. Where this you may only see in the worst you could see, in the old Navy days, it was always half of whatever the increment was. So if you were in 1 degree increments, the best you could ever see was a half of a degree. So you're a little more precise, which makes the putter more precise. Now that's a positive thing. The other thing, it's a great display piece. I mean, this whole thing looks pretty nice. I mean, the silver and the red stand out in my typical silver and green setup. So yeah, I like it. Now, going a little bit further, you get the rods that allow you some smooth transition from left to right for lefties and righties. When this came out, I really enjoyed this. A lot of the new bending units, as far as the measuring part of it goes along, is really good. It goes forward and back, side to side, so that you can get from here to here. Okay. Now the other part is that on here is if you were wanting to monitor what you were bending, what this has is these clips, and these clips get here and they lock the putter in place. There we go. They lock the putter in place. Now you can make these adjustments to the putter and read it without having to hold on to it. Personally, I like that. All right, I really like that in the fact that you can make these adjustments. Normally you would have to pull it away, make the adjustment, bring it back. Some cases you might be able to lay it on there, but you're only getting an assumption. So now you can see these adjustments that are going on. And if you're really good about it and you're doing it in front of your customer, hey, even better. However, whether you're doing it as a hobby or as a profession, whatever, this is truly a handy little tool that gets overlooked, that you can make this adjustment while it's in this clamp, right? In this clamp on that gauge. That's pretty impressive little setup right there. The other one we talked about, if we move down a little bit, two things. You have we'll take this guy back. This is where the meat and potatoes of the bender really lie. You have the block where you put the face. So what this is, the back end of this block and this putter face meet, and there's two pivoting pads so that if you have one of those putters that has a curved sole, that you can get it to sit flat and it gets underneath. And then that sits up against there, okay? Then what you have is, we'll go with this guy, is this arm, and I'll show you from this end. You see it's got a couple of rubber pads so it doesn't mar your putter, and you would just turn down on it. I like this. I'm used to down at the bottom as well, but either way, the knurled knob seems a little bit more substantial. Anyway, use it to turn it down, and it presses down on the putter, whether it be a blade or a mallet, in order for you to do loft and lie changes. So we'll put this back up a little bit. All right. Now the next part here is this handle is what adjusts this right here. Now this is an important change. This is all I really had on my other one. And what you would do is, typically I would be screwing this from the back on the old one, as I showed you before. All the controls are in front of you right now, which that's a positive. All right, so now it's holding it in there. That's one way of holding it, right? There's one way of holding it, in that it gets it back into the cavity of the putter and it pushes it up against the face. This would be my preference right here. However, not all putters are made the same. So what's another way of doing it? Well, if we take this guy out, Mondaire has provided us another block. All right, and this block latches in there. But the cool part about this block is these are plastic, but they come with some brass fittings. And you just turn them. See how it's kind of cut at the end? You just put them in there, turn them around, and then they stay in there. You know, necessity is the mother of invention. This thing is really quite cool. So what would happen is that these little plastic blocks or the brass blocks would get pressed up in behind your mallet putter. So we have an R ball, right? And if we had it in there, it would press up in there like that. Okay? Now it doesn't hit this thing, it doesn't hit, but it's pressing up against there. Now this is probably the one where it would, you know, if you wanted to do lie angles like this, that would be a problem. However, the forks on that red piece stick over here more and then grab a hold of that. So we're doing a little bit better. Here you go, Jim. Well, how does that all work? Well, it just basically slides and clips right into place. Just like that. And it tilts a little bit so that it will adjust to the putter itself. And again, you can change these out if you don't like the plastic. They come with these brass pieces that are identical to that, and you can put them in there. I'm going to use the plastic until they wear out, and then I'll probably end up going to the brass. So you can hold down the club, get it against the face, and you see how that thing just finds its center. Get it nice and tight, pull that guy over. You don't want to get too far in the way in case you have to hold on to here. And there you are. And now you're in. It's in there nice and tight, and you can pretty much get to bending just about anything you need. I would still be careful of still trying to go that way. I would be more confident in this one than the other one, only because of the longer forks. Right? Outside of that, so far all the ones, and I've had this thing for about a month now, so far it's held all the rest of them. The one that looks like this is probably the only real issue. Everything else it's held. I've had Scotties, Bentonardi's, I've had O-Works, Toulons, all those types that have been in here, and I've held every one of them to do every kind of a bend. All right, the last part about this is the stand. All right, now I like the stand because it's portable and I move my interior around quite a bit. And it allows me to put this in a more, accessible place for when I do putter fittings and need to do putter bending. Now this guy is about 20 years old. I was thinking that it would certainly fit because, well, the bases were the same. Well, you forget the fact that all this is working underneath. And if you do go portable, there is a place for batteries right underneath here to power this up. This being an AC or a DC powered meter. And so you get your batteries there. Quick call to Golf Works. I get a plate. Got the plate, put it on, wham bam, Bob's your uncle. And this thing looks really, really good. Like it was made to be part of this. So 20-year-old meets, well, 1-year-old. And it's a good look. I like the fact that it's a little taller, so the putter's more up here, so I'm not having to lean into it so much. I like that. Some people do, some people don't, but this is what I prefer. So as far as putter benders go, I don't see one that's much better, right? Now, it's not to say they're not out there, but these guys, they make it easy, they make it accessible, and they're proven. A lot of this stuff is in a lot of different shops, a lot of different OEMs, so why wouldn't we want to keep trusting it here? We have the digital readout. You have the gauge in case it decides not to. You have the clamps, the easy rolling rods to get you into position, the dual clamp here in order to press the putter against the block, longer forks on the hold down unit, and everything that you need's in front of you. I can't see anything. It's just a really nice design, and the fact that I can make it portable on my stand. What happens if you don't have a stand? Let's check that out. All right, if you guys don't have a stand like I do, or even get the newer stand, which would marry up quite easy and didn't have to use the plate, then you guys are going to mount it on a bench, right? Whether it's a big island style bench or it's just a one-sided bench like I have set up in my shop. One way or another, the bending is going to be, well, inconvenient, right? It's going to be inconvenient. Unless you have it on the corner of a bench and you set it across this way, if it's on a corner, you're going to go across, you're going to make a triangle basically. And it's going to be inconvenient because now it's sucked up some prime real estate for something that you may not do all the time. Bending is important and part of club building, club repair for sure, but do you really want it on the corner? That's a question that you personally have to answer. Golf Mechanix, along with these benders that you're starting to see, came up with a base, right? They came up with a base, and what a way to basically be able to put your bender anywhere you want. Because if you put it in the middle of your bench and you put it sideways this way, then you got to reach over and you got to pull this way, and you got to reach over and you got to pull that way. And it's just hard on you, and sometimes you're not going to get that bend, and it puts you in a bad spot. Well, if you turn it sideways and now you only bend this way, well, now what? Now you're only doing one side of the golfers, right? You just left out the other 10%, which are lefties. What's happened? Well, Golf Mechanix has made a base, right? They've made a base, and it has a dog bone shape and multiple holes on the top, so it can fit every bender it's got. Now, I haven't looked really close, but I'm pretty sure that all the gauges that are important will fit on here as well. Now, I'm not talking about, you know, shaft measurement, that kind of stuff. I'm talking about loft and lie gauges, those kinds of things. The small, if you see them, they have a small base on them. Chances are going to fit here, because not only do you have the 4 holes for the benders, but you have these slotted holes, threaded holes, in order to hold a lot more tools, right? A lot more tools. So it's not just for the benders. And the best thing about it is, as you saw, it rotates. So you can do just whatever you want. So if you have to do righties, you can have it sitting like this out of the way, turn it like this, lock it down so it doesn't move, do your bend, loosen it back up, put it out of the way, and voila. So you're not giving yourself a bruise on your hip every time you're going by. Need to do the lefties, do like that, pull it back, bam, do your bends, and put it back again. The same thing could be of measurement gauges as well. You could set it to whichever side that you want. I have to do that now with a different kind of rotating platform that's at the end of my bench in the same concept, but I use that quite a bit, so it's not a bad place for me. However, something like this is, and it's very heavy duty. If you look, it's at least 1/4 inch steel, right? And it's red anodized and gray painted, and very smooth on a mechanical turntable. Very long lockdowns. You know, if you had anything that, if room was a consideration, this is certainly a must-have. All right, you can put all your tools on it, or, you know, and you could have a series of these things. You just don't have to have the one. Put a series of them together, or put your bender on it at the end of your island, the end of your bench, in the middle now, and it's not, you know, you can have your other longer gauges sitting in there so they all work in concert with one another. That's the idea of the base. Now, obviously, I have the stand. I'm not going to be using that for this, but hopefully, going forward, Mondeer sees fit to send me a gauge, hint, hint, in order to use this so that I can have the turning. Now, again, you know, presentation is very important. Just like you saw from when I went from black and silver with the GolfWorks model, now it's red and gray. Now, a couple of things. I'm in Buckeye country, so red and gray works really good for the shop. Also, it kind of looks good. I mean, not kind of, it does. It looks good. And when it marries up with the base, it looks even better. Modernized, easier to use, it just makes your tools easy to use in a more confined space. If you're looking for something like that, GolfWorks, it's the mechanical base. I'll put some links in the show notes so you know where to go. I've got one more tool to show you. With any good putter tool, you need a good bending bar, right? Most bending bars come with this really small handle, very small, you know, widths on where you grab, because you don't want to put so much pressure on it that you break it, right? You just don't want to break it. You never want to break it on any bend. It's inevitable, it's going to happen, but you want to minimize that to the extreme low. So a good bending bar is where you got to be. Mondeer at Golf Mechanix has yet come up with another bending bar, and I like this one. Here, we're going to show it to you. All right, so if you look at it, see how if it's grabbing the shaft right here, I got it straight up, how that the handle goes up, so you're already starting at a leverage position. It's got knurled knobs, or knurled handled areas. All right, knurling is just the thing to put grip on the hand. And then we have another one, and you notice how it's smaller. All right, now if you notice inside there, all right, it has a removable inside. What this is made out is a material to not mar not mar the putter. If you're going to do a bend, the other part is the necks are different sizes, right? Necks are different sizes. Shafts are different sizes if you have flares or not. And you need different sizes. So what that is that's a different size than that. All right. If I'm right, the small one will fit here. Actually, the small one fits on the neck, so there you go. We have a small one that fits on the neck, and that's how you bend the bladed ones. You always are bending the neck. But if you look, it's not extraordinarily tight, but it's going to be good enough to hold it. Now you want to do something where you bend a shaft. There you go. And it grabs a little bit more, which when you're bending shafts, you want to have a little bit more so you don't do the dinging. Now, this is going to get worn because it's not marring. And if you look, there's a screw in there. All right, and that screw allows you to take that out. And these are replaceable. So you get this nice heavy duty, this is a well-made bar, right? It's got some weight so you can feel the push. And if you use both hands, it's easy to get that bend. If you're a one-hander, you can still do it, whether you want to get close in or not. But I'm more of a two-hander, more like this. And so different sizes for those, you know, for the areas that are very compact and for the areas that are not, and mostly into the shaft areas. Now, what we're going to do is on another video, I'm going to show you about bending putters. This is about the tool itself. So you have a non-marring inside, replaceable, which is really cool. And this is, you know, it's got something where it fits your hands. It's got a lot of girth on it. And it's got some weight, so you can feel it moving. So certainly, this is a huge, huge plus for putter bending. I'm here to tell you, this is one that's going on there, and some others are leaving the rack. So, well done, Golf Mechanix. Thank you so very much. Look for another videos because we're going to be showing you how to bend putters in another tools of the trade kind of setup. So you have it, right? Showed you the putter bender. There's lots going on with that putter bender. There, you know, everything's in front of you when you want to work. The digital just makes it just stand out. The new colorings for me work very, very well. It's well made, right? It's well made. I fully suspect it'll last another 20 years. The unfortunate part, I probably won't. And so, you know, he's done a very good job on putting this putter bend together, and you'll most likely see it in other shops, other OEMs anyway. So well done with that. The other one is the base. If you guys are more permanently mounted in shops, that base is a gotta have it kind of thing. You know, the spinning around, it'll take some 5/16, 3/8 inch bolts to put it down and mount it underneath. So, you know, take a look at it. And just like I have for my gauge, it's a must-have for being able to do lefties and righties stuff, particularly in a shop where it doesn't move, right? Finally, the putter bending tool. The putter bending tool. That is a real plus, right? You got two different sides, two different sizes, two different shapes to grab two different types of putters. So there's, you know, used to have adjustments on the back of the bigger ones. This one does just fine. And with that non-marring stuff, that's, you know, that non-marring insert, that's also replaceable. Dude, that's a win-win and another win. Keep in tune because I'm sure we're going to be doing some more of these as we update the mcgolf shop, right? And as always, let's see your scores go low.